The Dorks battle in Helluva Boss is one of the most popular battles in the first season of the show. This is the first fight where the audience gets to see the main cast working together as a team, killing people one after another. However, that's the only positive I can really say about this entire scene, as this fight is the most poorly choreographed, poorly researched, semi-poorly animated sequence I have seen. And I'm going to explain why. Throughout the sequence, the Dorks agents use melee weapons from Japan's Edo period to fight IMP. It's pretty stupid that all of these agents use melee weapons despite being a government agency. However, the agents themselves can't seem to use the weapons they use correctly. For example, this agent right here is carrying a kusarigama. Ninjas who use kusarigamas swing the weighted end over an opponent's weapon or the opponent themselves in order to immobilize them. The main weapon of the kusarigama is the blade itself. Since the chain is used to immobilize an opponent, the blade is used to deal a fatal blow to them. So, what was the first mistake the agent made while using the kusarigama? Simple. He threw the blade instead of the weighted end. As a result, he couldn't maintain his grip of the weapon and got yanked by Lena as a result. So what about the shuriken? There are a few agents in this episode who possess this weapon, but there is one fatal flaw with this weapon. That being, the shuriken is not a lethal weapon. They're not capable of penetration and are only used to distract an opponent or to retreat. For some reason, there is a sequence in this episode where Millie brutally kills agents who only have shurikens. If these characters were actually aware of the limits of the shuriken, they would have used something else, like swords. Speaking of swords, the majority of the agents in this episode use katanas. However, they don't seem to know how to use them properly, considering that instead of maintaining their distance and attacking when the time is right, they instead just rush the main cast in hopes of hitting them. This is a reckless way to attack an opponent, even if your opponent has a sword. Experienced sword users don't rush an opponent to attack. Instead, they maintain their distance and attack the opponent once the opponent is in range. Sword users also hold their blade with 2 hands instead of 1, as it'll increase their technique and cutting speed. This scene, in particular, irritates me a lot. Why didn't this sword user back away? He just let himself get killed, and it makes me so fucking mad. A few agents use nunchucks despite them being useless in this scenario, as the agents have to be close in order to use them. And a few agents use the sai incorrectly as well. For example, this agent used the sai in a slash or swing motion when sais aren't weapons that can cut. You can use them to stab, but they can't cut other people. If you want to see how all of these weapons are handled properly, then I suggest watching the 2012 version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There, you'll see how experienced ninjas use their respective weapons effectively. I know someone will ask, didn't the Ninja Turtles use the shuriken to destroy robots? Well, the simple answer to that is that the Ninja Turtles are stronger than the average human, so they have the physical capabilities of throwing a shuriken lethally, whereas peak humans do not. The fight choreography itself is a mess, to say the least. The setting of the fight seems to enlarge itself once the fight actually starts, but immediately shrinks once it's finished. Agents rise out of the ground to attack the main cast, basically being non-existent until the plot demands they are. If a fight scene has to manipulate the area around it in order for the protagonist to win, then you've pretty much given the protagonists themselves a crutch. This fight scene was likely inspired by Kill Bill Volume 1, where Beatrix Kiddo fought against the Crazy 88, but what makes these two sequences very different is that the Yakuza know how to use their weapons. The setting is already established to be big, and Beatrix herself takes some damage to show the audience that the gang isn't fodder. The Truth Seekers battle has none of that. Nobody knows how to use their weapons. The setting changes to IMP's favor, and IMP suffers no damage. This entire sequence wouldn't have happened if Agent 1 and Agent 2 gave all of their workers guns instead of melee weapons. Both agents have used guns in the beginning of the episode and near the end of it, so it doesn't make sense that all of them don't have guns. It was never established that they were short on funds, and it was never established that they were short on ammunition. If they can purchase an abundance of melee weapons, then they can definitely afford guns. This is the issue I have with the DHORKS agents. They're all stupid, which isn't all that surprising considering that most of the villains in this show are also stupid. You'll find the video where I talk about that in the top right. That's also the main reason why this entire scene doesn't work for me. If your protagonists are going against antagonists, make sure the antagonists themselves are intelligent. Then, in turn, it'll make your protagonists themselves look more impressive because they defeated a competent antagonist. If you have your antagonists look incompetent, but your protagonists look the opposite, it's not as impressive in comparison. Would you rather want to see Batman fight and struggle against Bane or Deathstroke? Or would you want to see Batman no diff against a swarm of goons he's been seen fighting in the past? Personally, I would love to see Batman struggle against Deathstroke or any member of his rogues gallery, because that makes his victory much more satisfying. There are too many animation errors in this sequence alone. In the first few seconds of the fight scene, this man's beard changes 3 times. Luna's god-forsaken ears are wildly inconsistent, and the background itself keeps changing size. The main characters themselves disappear in certain frames because the setting is so inconsistent with how it looks. Also, for some reason, every single dead body after the sequence disappears. There is not a single corpse or weapon in sight, despite there being so many agents just a couple minutes before. All that's present is just splatters of blood everywhere. Even the corpses that appeared to summon Stolas immediately vanished a shot afterward. I'm definitely adding this as an animation error in the future. But once again, I don't blame the animators for this, mainly the supervisors, if there even are any. The soundtrack for this entire sequence is absolutely dog shit. It made me want to pull my eardrums straight out in a violent fashion. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but the music itself doesn't fit with what's happening to me. The music sounds like a celebratory moment, but what's celebratory about killing fodder? It's painted as this great moment when, in reality, it's not all that impressive considering what we've seen the main protagonists go through. Millie gutted a fish kaiju easily. Moxxie, Millie, and Blitzo fought against cherubs, who are capable of lifting boulders with ease. So that's why this entire fight scene as a whole doesn't work for me, if you can even call it a fight scene. This entire fight scene sucks, and I more so prefer the other fights in Helluva Boss. Killing fodder in a somewhat stylized way is not good at all. It's like if the Ninja Turtles went up against a horde of Foot Clan members and the horde of Foot Clan members were the final boss of the season. It's not impressive if we know that they can defeat larger and tougher enemies, and that same logic applies to Helluva Boss. If you enjoyed this video, why not give it a like and share it with your friends? And if you want more banger videos like these, then click the subscribe button. It'll mean a whole lot to me if you did. Thank you for watching, and I hope you take care.